Supply chain attacks surge with orgs flying blind about dependencies. Who is the third party that does the thing in our thing? Yup. So for consumers out there, if you're not a programmer, because I know I have a few, what you don't understand about the tech industry, what you might not understand about the tech industry, we as programmers have decided that it is good for us to create the most idiotic abstractions. What that means is instead of taking code like this and hand coding it every time, we go, well, there's some repetitive code in here, right? So how about instead of taking this repetitive code and typing it out every single time, we turn it into a library, which is this code packaged into a system that we can just import, really easily import. You just type in a nice little command and it imports this repetitive code, and you just point to it and go, I want to use this repetitive code in this portion of a website or whatever it is. That has ballooned into frameworks, which is like a you can think of it as maybe like an Uber library or a bunch of libraries put all together. Frameworks are typically what people use to build websites these days, including video games and software. There's usually a framework behind it, and then these frameworks scale up, and then what you usually have is a bunch of different frameworks and a bunch of different libraries, especially when you're talking about the web, where you have like cloud services and your data and the website's being served over here and yada yada yada. There's a bunch of different stuff going on, and essentially what we've created is a massive complexity machine. It's a massive complexity machine. Now, in and of itself, that's not really a bad thing. Do you really want to be paying, as a consumer, do you really want to be paying a programmer to repeatedly be rewriting code like this over and over again? That's someone's time, right? It's not really this that's the bad thing. The bad thing is that we've gone way too far in the complexity machine. Way too far. We've taken it way too far. So as a result, an article like this is what I've been complaining about since I started streaming seriously over a year ago. We don't even know what these things do anymore. We have created so many of these little machines built on top of each other, built on top of each other, built on top of each other, that we have become so dependent upon them that you as a consumer don't even realize the amount of issues that we just import on a daily basis over and over and over again. And so when you go to that website and you create that account and I don't know, whatever it is, that kind of stuff operates on massive amounts of unknown libraries, massive amounts of unknown systems that are just imported on a daily basis without really knowing what's going on. Programmers don't fully understand what's going on. Managers don't fully understand what's going on. And executives don't fully understand what's going on. And this is part, not entire, but part of the reason why tech companies no longer know how to make anything of quality anymore, because they don't even understand what's going on underneath. This is just a part of it. And so what they have to do is they have to pump you full of ads, subscriptions, rug-pulled pricing models, right? Like this, and never-ending subscription pricing changes. They sell your data. And then on top of that, these security issues, which is what this talks about, which is the number of attacks as a result of all of these complexity machines being pieced together, not knowing how they work, means that we are literally just importing a whole bunch of security vulnerabilities, and no one knows where they even are to plug them. So again, vote with your dollar. Companies are realizing this. Organizations and leaders are gravely concerned about supply chain risks. Geez, if only there was an Amish, morally principled person, high school room temperature IQ, ex-homeless dropout, self-taught, who talked about these things on stream. 88% of the CISOs and other security higher-ups surveyed expressed worry over supply chain security, but far fewer than half actually monitor security fully across their external suppliers. Nearly 4 in 5 organizations, 79%, say that less than half of their nth-party supply chain, which is the dependents and dependencies of their suppliers, is overseen by a cybersecurity program. This means the vast majority of organizations are flying blind, much like the drones in the sky that we consider to be birds, but they're really drones. I guess they're not flying that blind because they're drones and they can see where they're flying. But in any case, these companies depend on these dependencies to keep their businesses running. 36% of respondents revealed that only 1 to 10% of their supply chain is protected. They have the visibility for the organizations that have the visibility into the wider aspect of their supply chain. It's likely that the data they get back makes for grim reading. Nearly 2/3 or 62% of security leaders said that less than half of their third and nth party suppliers match their own organization's security requirements. The apathy from or inability of both customers and their suppliers to monitor supply chain security and meet security standards respectively naturally leads to an unwelcome number of attacks. 71% of security leaders reported that their organizations had experienced at least one incident which had a material impact on their business in the past year alone. I cover these kinds of scenarios all the time, over and over again. This happens on a daily basis. Millions of dollars lost, people's livelihoods destroyed, etc., etc. Again, vote with your dollars. And the good news is that it doesn't have to be this way. If we focus less on people's feelings as they develop these systems, if we even made it like somewhat mandatory for programmers to understand the fundamental underpinnings of the things they created, if consumers clamored for better quality, because I think consumers have been beaten over the head, they just assume, well, I guess this is just how it is because everyone's like this, so it must just be how it is. It must be the state of tech that we can't do anything better. We can. Video games could be way better. They could be way smaller. They could be way cooler. They could be way funner. We could remove the politics out of all this tech stuff where ideology does not have a place in it. You could have way better video games. You could have way better websites, way faster, much more secure. Software, same thing. You could have all of that. And it would only take a few months of most, maybe not even most, like 60, 50%, 60% of the tech industry being persuaded that we can do better. 6 to 8 months, you wouldn't recognize the amount of the kinds of things that we could produce. It's like, it's right there. It's right there. Right there. I'm pointing to it. It's literally right there. A bird just flew over it.